A panel discussion on AI and the future of tech, insights from women in STEM and GCC. Please put your hands together as I welcome our esteemed panelists. Shruti Kashyap Arora, Chief Information Officer, HUL, Hindustan Unilever Limited. A round of applause, please, for Ms. Arora. Thank you for joining us, ma'am. And keep that applause going for our next panelist, Nithya Subramanian, Head of Data and Analytics, AMEA, Kellanova, Kellogg's. Let's put our hands together for Dr. Shivani Gupta, Chief Data Scientist, Reliance Jio. Let's have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. All that good energy, let's pass it on to our panelists this morning. And Dr. Lopa Mudraa Basuu, Managing Director, Cybersecurity, InfoSec, Gurukul. I'd now like to welcome the moderator for this panel, Ms. Deepti Rai, Regional Director, South, Women in Tech, India. A big round of applause for Ms. Rai. Welcome, Deepti. I'm going to hand the stage over to you.
Good morning, everyone. It's a true honor to be here today, and especially representing Women in Tech India. Super excited to kick off this panel discussion with some of the really cool female leaders that we have here today. I had a chance to talk to them backstage, and I heard some really cool stories from them. So without further delay, I'm going to kick off this panel discussion. My first question is for Ms. Nithya. Ms. Nithya, you have over 21 years of diverse experience across multiple industries. You have a remarkable track record of driving digital transformation, leveraging technologies like AI and machine learning. The tech industry has seen some incredible breakthroughs over the last decade, especially with the advent of AI. We all know the buzzword of AI. You're renowned for your ability to build and manage high-performing teams in this rapidly evolving landscape. So my question for you is, given the constant stream of new breakthroughs, how do you keep your team tech agile and motivated? And can you share some of the challenges you face and, most importantly, what we can learn from them? Over to you, Ms. Nithya.
Thank you so much. Am I audible? Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. Great to see, such bright faces, such, diverse audience here. In fact, I was expecting only women, but I see a huge diversity, and that's kind of encouraging, and that also shows the sense of allyship, right? And that's really something that we should celebrate. Now, coming to your question, yes, right, especially with all the AI, generative AI, the tech landscape is continuously changing, right? It's evolving at a pace that, which has not been paralleled ever in the past, right? So therefore, it's imperative for everybody, including ourselves, to be kind of, to be aware of what's happening, to kind of upskill ourselves, to know about, the implications of this technology evolution, right? And I encourage the same in my team, right? I try to build a growth mindset, right? And I also try and exemplify that growth mindset to my team. Because gone are the days when you could stick to one particular technology and and live with that for years and years. Now you got to continuously upskill yourself given all the changes which are happening. And I also not just encourage but also provide them opportunities in terms of learning, in terms of I would say experimentation, in terms of stretch assignments, etc., where they can really apply. So it's one thing to kind of learn and know the technology, and it's a totally different thing to kind of apply that and kind of experiment, learn, fail fast, and kind of improvise, right? So, and it also requires a lot of collaboration, cross-team, cross-functional collaboration, which I enable in my organization. That if somebody wants to learn a particular technology by doing something and that opportunity is available in some other team, I encourage, that kind of a cross-leveraging or cross-pollination of skills, right? So that's one thing. Apart from that, it's always good to kind of, have some sort of a yardstick that can help us measure in terms of how people are evolving as the technology evolves. So kind of having a soft, I would say, criteria in, kind of in evaluations, right, in performance, etc., is something which also kind of makes that as a part of the process. Because end of the day, right, and we have heard about this one joke or something that keeps getting circulated. Somebody asking the boss, what if we spend so much money on an employee and they leave, right? On upskilling them and they leave. Whereas the boss says, what if we don't spend and they stay, right? So this is the world we are right now in. So we got to make a smart decision and invest on the employee and nudge them to kind of perform beyond their abilities, right? Nudge themselves, right? And one way of doing that is to kind of bake that in their assessments. Yeah. And
Thank you.
challenges you asked, right?
Yes.
Lot of challenges, because it's kind of a whole lot of a change management that you got to do with your people, that you got to nudge them to think that this is important for them to learn and upskill themselves. Another challenge is getting the right resources made available to them, right? Sometimes we got to create those resources, right? For example, generative AI is such a new field. At the enterprise level, we don't have many trainings. So we co-created the trainings, right? We created the curriculum and, the content, right? So we did have challenges, but we ensured that we kind of maneuvered the complexities, and then, we enabled the larger organization in this. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Nithya, for sharing some of your learnings and also talking about the challenges. I really love the aspect of growth mindset you said, right? Inculcating that and also providing the resources to the employees to kind of walk that path. So thank you for sharing those lovely insights with us. My next question is for Dr. Basuu. Dr. Basuu, with over 20 years of experience in information security, data privacy, and risk management, you have been a key figure in transforming security into a business strength. Your work has not only protected companies, but helped them grow by creating secure platforms for innovation. We just spoke to Ms. Nithya about the rapidly evolving landscape, and I bet this impacts the cybersecurity world too. So my question for you is, how do you see the role of cybersecurity changing with the rise of technologies like AI? What advice would you have for the organizations to help them prepare for these changes effectively?
Good morning, all. It's really nice to see the very inclusive and diverse audience in the morning. That's also in a working day. It's a very interesting question. Now, when we talk about the emerging technologies, specifically AI is the dual-edged sword. So, cyber, the main differentiator is the speed. Your speed is going to, decide that how you are going to defend. This emerging technologies like AI, IoT, OT, cloud, everything have a direct, indirect impact on cyber. Specifically, if we look at the AI, there is a two part of AI for cyber, cyber for AI. When AI for cyber, AI actually help us to increase our speed, increase our monitorability, increase our overall capability to protect the business territory and the organization. Other hand, due to AI, the entire organization is get connected. So it's imposing the risks. And one of the main thing in cyber is the analytics, threat intel. And obviously, humanly, it is impossible to handle. So this is a very big shift we can see there. Also, when we talk about the 0 days vulnerability, it is also very important to have a defense for that. So that kind of defense, monitoring capability, and control efficiency assessment continuously, humanly obviously not possible, where AI play a huge role. Other side, when it is coming to the AI, it's also help the attackers to craft very sophisticated attacks. defect is one of the example where, people are directly getting impacted due to their ignorance. Another thing is that with the cyber, when it is coming to handling the assessment or creating the attack, it was a kind of manual skill earlier. A person needs to be very highly skilled. Even when you are executing attack with the help of tool, the person needs to be very skillful on the tool. But today with AI, that is not required at all. You need to only know how to check the boxes and raise the attack. That is another part. And one part is how it is shifting the overall role. Yes, it is shifting the overall role in technology, specifically in cybersecurity. Maximum age could be maximum 3 years for a technology. So a person needs to be very focused that what is going to happen next, and they need to get geared up. For example, if we are talking today for AI, we need to parallelly gear up ourselves to become pursue our professional career in the industry. We need to look at the quantum part and other upcoming technology part, which are currently kind of on research bed. So it is a continuous process. And with that, obviously, we need a very strong mindset where people are capable to prioritize the things and accordingly move. That is something due to the AI, I can see a huge shift, which is triggering people to relook their career. But good thing is that what is research showing that with the support of new technologies, cyber professionals are 80% more equipped compared to previous days. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lopa. I really enjoyed that. Like AI and cybersecurity are partners in crime. They should embrace each other. And I heard about AI and cybersecurity, but the cybersecurity and AI aspect also was something new for me. So really learned a lot from you today. Thank you for sharing your unique perspective on this. My next question is for Ms. Shruti. Ms. Shruti, as the Chief Information Officer, you have had an impressive journey at Unilever, starting as a management training and rising to starting as a management training and rising to lead significant digital transformation initiatives. Your belief that every business needs to be a tech business to succeed resonates strongly in this era of rapid tech advancement. So my question for you is, given your experience in leading large-scale digital transformations, how do you use strategic foresight to anticipate and integrate technologies like AI into Unilever's operations? What advice would you have for other organizations who are looking to stay ahead of the curve in this fast-paced tech environment?
Thank you. Thanks for having me here, Deepti, and wonderful to be speaking to all of you. Just to bring to life a little bit, I work for an organization that sells soap and soup. That's how we put it. So brands like Lakme or a Clinic Plus or a Tresemme, on one hand, at the same time, your home care products like a Surf or a Vim. And you are basically tackling a very wide category of products, but at the same time, a very wide category of personas that you need to cater to. So for instance, on the one hand, I have to digitize a factory, which is manufacturing my soaps and shampoos. And on the other hand, I have this vast array of field force who are going out into the market and selling our products. And, I just thought that it'll be good for me to bring it to life with some examples. So on the manufacturing side, for instance, one of the things, and this was during the time of COVID, we realized that we did not have enough workers in the factories, right? And that was the reality of that time. COVID was just unpredictable, etc. And that's when the seed of digitization popped in, saying, how do you automate operations so that your manual dependency becomes less? And it started off with basic things like IoT, deploying sensors on a lot of our equipment, and then wiring them up so that you're able to collect data. Now, once you're able to collect data, we realized we can actually set up a digital twin of the entire production line, right? And that then helps me become far more responsive because I don't have to make changes in the production line every time. I can do it digitally and see what's the impact, right? Very similar thing happened on the field force end as well. We have salesmen who go out to our kirana stores, mom and pop stores, take orders. Those orders are fulfilled by our distributors. And again, we realized that COVID meant that we're not going to have that many feet on street anymore. And therefore, we created a very simple, basic application for a retailer to be able to place orders himself. And that application today is India's largest eB2B application, right? The reason for that being, it started as a necessity, but then we've also taken it to the next level to understand what the needs of that small kirana shop owner are, give him the necessary information that he needs, and also make it a little bit entertaining for him. So for instance, when IPL was going on, we launched a campaign saying that if you place orders during the IPL match, you get a certain offer, you get a better margin, you get a better discount, right? So these are just two examples. And the reason I brought them to life was because you have so many different personas that you're catering to. You have dashboards that you're creating for the CEO of the organization. You have an application that should work for the retailer. You have a factory that you need to wire up and digitally support. And therefore, it's very important to understand ultimately what is the business value that you're creating at each step, right? What I create for my CEO will be more future forward looking. It'll be more around what can be the impact on my market share, what's the predictive analysis I can do. But what I create for a retailer will be very transactional, right? How much money am I making? What's my next order going to look like? When is it going to get delivered? And so on and so forth. So understanding the different user personas and to be able to deliver the right business value to them, to me, that's the first thing which is at the heart of digital transformation. The second thing is just, I would say, the support that the organization gives to these initiatives. The sponsorship has to start from the top. It cannot be bottom up. And in our case, we had the CEO directly sponsoring a lot of these initiatives. We did not know at that point of time whether we will succeed or not. Digital Factory was an experiment, just like our eB2B app was an experiment. But the reason they were able to grow in scale and reach the level that they did is because we had the right levels of sponsorship, we had the right levels of review, and everything was ultimately being analyzed with that lens of business value, right? So, everybody spoke here about Gen AI. Great, it's a great buzzword. Every year we have a new one. We had the metaverse, we had big data, we have Gen AI. But ultimately for me, the question to ask is, what is the business value? Do I see Gen AI creating a lot of business value everywhere? No. There are areas like knowledge management where it makes sense, and therefore I will make the investment. But then to go all out on Gen AI also does not make sense. So for me, the job as the CIO is to just make sure that I'm providing those answers to the business leaders, saying where does it make sense, where does it not, and therefore where should I pivot and make the investment.
Thank you for sharing that really unique perspective on it. And I really like the fact that you said, hey, I know that AI is a buzzword, and I have been on that train too, where I'm like, oh, I need to upskill myself because I'm going to become, no one will employ me, right? But trying to link that, hey, the AI, where it kind of creates that business value and adopt it only there. You don't need to have AI all over the place. And I think that's a very unique distinction that you called out. So thank you for sharing that with us. So my next question is for Dr. Shivani. As an AI and analytics leader, you built a global data science practice that has significantly contributed to client acquisition as well as retention. Your expertise spans across multiple industries, and you have crafted innovative solutions using advanced technologies. Your leadership in innovation has driven substantial business value and set new standards in the industry. So my question for you is, can you share some of the secrets to successfully leading and embracing cutting-edge technologies, and what strategies have you found are most effective in fostering a culture of innovation within your teams?
Thank you, Deepti. Very good question, and great to be here in between wonderful audience and very intellectual people I can see here. If you're working in a very advanced technology like AI, and we heard from Nithya that you need to be on edge to adopt and learn the newest and greatest technologies what are coming on the way. But how do we adopt, and as Shruti was talking about, that where AI is applicable, where it is not applicable, that demarcation needs to happen as well. So I work on a lot of verticals which are very established vertical like telecom or retail, where AI is not like 5 or 10 solutions what we are working, probably it's like 500 or 800 solutions which AI is delivering to make each and every decision which is data-driven decision, analytics-driven decision, or AI-driven decisions. But also on other line where probably 5 years back, we have never thought of AI taking into, it could be sports, it could be agriculture, it could be healthcare. So AI is not unknown for the verticals which are like greenfield projects now, and it is going to length. And you have to have a different strategy in terms of the established verticals versus the greenfield projects, because when you're working in established vertical, it is result oriented, you have to be on time, it is like near real time solution, probably injection you have to work around. For example, telecom. If a telecom tower, if customer is facing some issue with connectivity, my solution needs to able to identify and quick do probably near real time RCA in order for engineers to go and fix the things. That type of, you can say, value proposition you have to create, that digital twin needs to be created with these verticals, which help for people to take quick decisions and probably bring to that automated format. So when we talk about innovation, result first, innovation second, and automation. It has to be in that way where people can connect with the results. Innovation can enhance the result, but if you're not doing the automation, you're losing the trip, right? We call it AI for AI is very essential, where we are doing our own automation. If we are not, we are missing the bus. Greenfield projects, you have to be very clear in terms of innovating the solution which are going to change life. So in healthcare, we have created a solution called AI Doctor, which is basically a bot, which a symptom checker where you give the symptoms and it will give you the results. May not be that much applicable for the urban population where you can have probably hundreds of doctors around you, but think about third tier, fourth tier cities where primary healthcare is also not available. So thinking about innovation, but also the right market for that is also important, because ultimately you are not going to sell this after a certain time. Adoption, people talk about accuracy in AI is very important. It is very critical, but you have to think through how the people are going to adopt as well is also very, very important, right? So a lot of different pieces comes into the place when you are designing a project. You have to think through all the aspects. Who is your customer? How you will build the relationship? How do you learn that particular vertical? I have worked in many verticals where I didn't even know. Telecom, I didn't know 4 years back anything. But I had to sit with the people who know that in and out and learn about that. How they are going to adopt your solution, what kind of innovation is required in that area. Bring those skill set of you sitting with customer helps big time. So it's a partnership with business folks is very important. Adoption of your solution is very important. Innovation can bring accuracy, but it cannot push the adoption of that space, right? So a lot of things come into the place. Once you define the charter, you will identify what are the things that are important for that particular solution in order for you to be successful. And innovation comes with a lot of learning, lot of cutting edge solution, adaptability. You cannot miss that, right? So that's from my side.
Thank you, Dr. Shivani, for sharing that. I like that you added another nuance to AI adoption. I got the priority right. Result, innovation, and then adoption, right? Thank you for sharing that. So I'm going to be asking like a common question to all the panelists here today. I'm sure many of us agree that things are not always easy for women. Whether it's at workplace, it's at society, within families, or in education, women often have to go that extra mile to prove themselves. This journey can be filled with self-doubt, guilt, threat, competitiveness, making the path to success even more challenging. Each of you, as leaders in your field, have navigated these complexities and achieved remarkable success. So, reflecting on your experiences, my question to you is, what specific actions or changes do you believe can make it easier for women to succeed in tech and leadership roles? How can organizations, communities, and individuals contribute to creating a more supportive and equitable environment? So we can start with Dr. Lopa and then we can just...
Very nice and very tough questions, because every individual is independent and the situation they are going through, scenarios they are going through, they are unique. But in cyber, when I have started my journey, at least for first 10 to 12 years, I am the single person in my team as woman. But trust me, I never feel that I'm a single person in the team, because I never thought that I am a woman. Because when one instance I remember, a HR professional came and told me that, you need to leave early little bit, because, it's better women have lots of work life to balance. So my answer to that, that's my job to balance it. When I enter inside the office, don't go by my gender. Look at as a professional, you hired me for my competency. When my team is in trouble, as a leader, I need to be here, sitting with my team, not at home and instructing them over the call. So for me, each person is unique, understanding each other. Luckily, I always lead a very inclusive team, honor that, respect that inclusivity. Each individual have a unique strength, unique weakness. Allow them to strengthen the strength, also work with the weakness to make it, but always ensure that your strength is not coming down because you are more focusing on your weakness. That is very important. That is the mistake most of the time people make. Next is, as a woman, what I found, women generally don't voice out the challenges they are facing. So it's become a problem, then it is a complexity, all these are coming. Whenever you have a problem or challenge, voice out, ask for the support, ask for the help. Next is, obviously, as an organization, every organization, or as a society, we need to provide the environment, allow them to take their own decision. Women are multitasking, let them decide that what is their priority, what they need to do. And for women, it is important that you cannot do everything by yourself. Learn to delegate the work and focus where your expertise is more required. Focus that area and do it at home as well as office. Then it will help you to balance, because we are not signed or born anywhere that we need to do everything. So that is very important priority. And focus on equity as well as, in the environment where you are talking about that you need your independence, all this, but not only talk, practice it. If you start practicing it, the entire environment is going to support. But if you only talk about those and don't practice, then nobody is going to support you. That is what I experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
A quick, I think, my own experience. As a women, we need to have the priorities for ourselves, which we feel, which kind of aspirations we have, right? What gives us happiness, what we want to do in next 2, 3, 5 years, and not depend on the surrounding to make that happen, right? Your career is not dependent on getting a good husband or supportive husband, but you have to make that happen, right? So if you have aspiration on certain things, make sure that you are putting that effort to make that happen rather than depending on environment or companies or allies or friends or family to make that work. But if you're not that rigid, work is going to keep you to the corners all the time, and you will not work around, right? So be strong, make your own decisions on that.
So I agree with everything that has been spoken. So I'll just add a couple of things on top of it. One is, as women, we should kind of work towards uplifting each other, mentoring each other, right? Extending that helping hand, right, when someone needs. Because, and then also, I mean, with all due respect to the male allies, right? They understand that they have been, from the perspective of society and the bias which lies in there, they are at a vantage position. But I've seen them kind of also kind of extend their support, celebrate women for their achievement, and so on and so forth. And this is very important. And as women leaders, even I have, found myself a bit vulnerable at some times, right? Self-doubt. It's natural. We are all human beings. It happens to men also, right? So I think in such cases, don't get bogged down by it. Seek mentorship, seek help, right? I shamelessly seek help whenever I need. I really don't think twice, because I understand I deserve that, right? I'm taking care of so many things, right? Just be gentle on you, take care of your health, seek help whenever needed. It's okay to have self-doubt as long as you kind of, you know whom to reach to, right? Have a good, circle of mentors, right? And well-wishers, right?
Okay, I can hear the bell ringing, so I'll keep it short. I think for women, I'll say two things: take risks, and two, don't necessarily strive for balance. There isn't any such thing called balance. It's a question of what you prioritize each and every day, and every day will be different. And for organizations, especially the most challenging time for a woman is post-maternity. How do you create the right environment, the right support group, the right culture for women coming back from maternity is ultimately what determines their long-term success. So, thank you.
A big thank you to all my lovely panelists today for sharing your really empowering stories. I feel totally inspired, and I'm sure the audience feels the same too. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies.